Hello friends, welcome to this section on future of IoT. In this section we'll be having sessions on challenges and opportunities, IoT projects and the future of IoT. In this session, let us look at some of the challenges and opportunities that have emerged with the world of IoT. The first and the foremost challenge is that of data. Each sensor and control point is generating data. Often this data is informative and very private. Big systems are needed to help devices talk to each other, manage all of this data, and enforce proper access control. All of this messaging, management, and access control technologies used in networks should be massively scalable. Cloud systems for data is a need, and that is one of the biggest challenges of an ever expanding IoT network of networks. With the advent of IoT, there will be sensors all across the world, and there will be cloud systems all over the world that will be taking data that is generated. IoT will also bring a lot of security threats. We have been aware of threats like eavesdropping, where somebody is listening to the data that is being transferred. However, when we speak of IoT, there are two threats which are very specific and unique to IoT solution. One is the fake device threat, and other is the fake server threat. In the fake device threat, there is a sensor or a device that acts as if it is part of the network and creates data that is sent to the cloud system. Again, with this threat, the entire analytics can be skewed up because of a false reading. The objective of a false device or a fake device is to hamper the entire data collection and to misguide the analytics process. The second threat is of a fake server threat, where a server comes up from nowhere and claims to be the legitimate server for a network. All the data that is generated is sent to this fake server. In a sense, the data which was supposed to go to the right server does not go through. It is actually sent and disappears into the fake server. Again, it impacts analytics. But here it's not only about the analytics, but somebody else has access to the data that you had generated. So in IoT, we have two security threats which are unique to the world of IoT: the fake device and the fake server. People are working around to identify these threats and come up with a technology solution. When we speak of IoT solutions, it's not easy. IoT systems are complex. Essentially, it is a network of networks which has a hardware component as well as a software component. We have a real world and we have an intelligent world. This is the reason IoT solutions can be complex. There are certain reasons that add to the complexity of IoT. One, there are many interactive systems that are part of the IoT solution. The entire smack, the cloud, the analytics, the social, and the mobile has to play a big role in the IoT solution. And designing a cloud or designing an analytics solution or designing a mobile solution is not easy. It is complex. The second reason is the sensor explosion. Imagine you start a project today with 100 sensors, and each of the sensors is generating data. next year you will definitely have more than 100, maybe even 1000, if not more. The year after that, you will have still more. Sensors are going to increase in number. At no point you will say, let me reduce the number of sensors. Sensors are going to increase, and with that, the amount of data that you collect is going to increase. Sensor complexity and data complexity are going to increase in an IoT solution. So when you're designing an IoT solution, make sure you have thought through how are you going to manage the data when the number of sensors explode. 3. Different types of sensors. If you wanted to design a solution with temperature sensor, there are so many temperature sensors that you will really have to go through the data sheets of each sensor to find out which one is the right for your solution. And sometimes it's not just about the data sheet. You need to see what kind of communication module you will use with the sensor, whether the sensor looks good aesthetically in your solution. There are multiple reasons for choosing the right sensor. So there are complexities that are added because of the variety of the same kind of sensors available in the market. 4. Connectivity and protocols. There are different types of protocols. Some are said to be good for an indoor use, some for outside, some for moving perspective, some where the power and the data rate requirements are very high. So depending upon the usage and your requirements, you will have to choose the right protocol to use in your IoT solution. Again, it is a complex design activity. Choosing protocols is not easy. 5. Testing. I have seen so many cases where IoT solutions have been designed, implemented, but they could not go forward because they didn't know how to test it. I will give you an extreme example to bring home this point. Let's assume you were creating an IoT solution for the cow. You wanted to monitor the health of the cow and you're building an IoT solution for that. You build the solution and then you say, how am I going to test it? You never thought about it. What is the point of building a solution if you don't know how you are going to test it? And I have seen many IoT projects stalled just because they could not be tested. In this particular case of the cow, even before you start designing the IoT solution, you have to first create a simulator of the cow. Only when you have simulated the cow, you can go ahead and design the solution. And when your solution works well with the simulation, you can think about taking the solution and working with the real cow. I hope you get my point. Testing can be a deal breaker for many IoT projects in this world. And lastly, 6. The security. We have just spoken about the security consideration. With IoT, there are going to be many sensors, many servers. With that, there are going to be challenges of fake servers, fake devices, fake sensors, eavesdropping, and so on. Managing security for your IoT solution is going to be a complex affair. Let us look at some of the challenges that businesses face while undertaking IoT projects. Clearly, nobody can claim to have the right ROI measurements for an IoT project. There is no formula or no mechanism to determine how much would be the return on investment if you made investment in an IoT. ROI right now is very much a gut feel of what the leaders think with IoT. There is no scientific approach or historical data that can give indication to an expected ROI. In IoT, there is no technology standardization and doesn't seem that there will be one in the near future. Each big technology company is doing its own with IoT, creating its own standards, creating its own protocols. It is very unlikely that they will accept anything that some other tech firm is saying. For example, Google is working on driverless cars. It's done enough to launch a car soon. And Tesla or Apple is also working on driverless cars. Why would Google say, let me adopt Apple's standard or let me adopt Tesla's standard? Each company will try its best to be the first in the market with the product that they have in mind. As a result of which, in the world of IoT, it is unlikely that we will see technology standardization anytime soon. Companies also face challenges with all the data that gets generated. When data is generated, you need to store it. It is a huge cost. A cost in terms of money as well cost in terms of time. Because once this data reaches a threshold whereby it will be difficult to retrieve what you want, businesses will know the cost of retrieval of data. Huge amount of data is a big challenge for businesses today. Another challenge that businesses face is rapid innovation that is happening in the world of IoT. What you read today becomes obsolete few months down the line. New products, new services, new applications, they just keep coming. So you have to be on top of the game if you want to make your business count. Very important challenge that businesses face today is the lack of skilled resources. Businesses need IoT solution architects. Businesses need data scientists. Businesses need sensor experts, but very few of them are available. On top of that, when somebody is working on IoT, that person needs to understand both the hardware and the software side of things. Unfortunately, this is a rarity. Very few in this world today can claim to be experts on both. Lack of skilled resources in IoT is a big challenge that companies have yet to figure out a solution to. And lastly, there is no governance structure. There is no international body that is governing the standards and the development of protocols. Everything is happening in its own way. In short, these are the challenges that every business today is facing when they determine to go for IoT solution building.